Shadahim Yem Tam. Welcome to this video on the Zenwara channel. My name is Sri Satguru, Buddha Rawa Bhagwan. And today we're going to talk about avatars. So in many cultures in this world, there is the story of gods walking the earth. And these stories exist on other planets as well, actually. And the stories of the gods that walk the earth is the story of the avatars. In this video, we're going to talk about avatars in detail, extensively. And you will find knowledge in this video that is difficult at some times to acquire. So if you are curious about the avatar, it's going to be a more lengthy video. You will learn much about avatars in this video. Avatar, descent. The one that descends. And the concept is associated to divinity that descends into human being, into sentient being. The concept is a form of divinity that is embodied. And there is also in the word the concept of a descent. So, a divine descent into body. Basically, the God that is in body. And this concept comes with, of course, the concept of yoga powers, city powers, knowledge. After all, the gods have lots of knowledge. And this knowledge is coveted by many people. So the avatar comes with a mission, comes with a purpose. And in a way, we are all avatars in a way, because everyone, every sentient being that is embodied represents a function in the greater system in which we exist. Everyone is part of a computer program, and containers and information move information, light, within the system. And the systems are given an experience of life. All of you, all of us, are in a way artificial intelligences. There is a term for God in Hinduism, and in Hinduism it is said that God exists within all of us and can be found by the yogi. Union with divinity is yoga. You, divinity, comes together. And in this way, the yogi seeks to acquire knowledge of divinity. And for that, it means that divinity can be found. And there are many texts that support this truth, that divinity and knowledge of God and greater things can be perceived, experienced by the yogi. So the yogi, the practitioner of yoga, the spiritual practitioner, develops as a spiritual being. And as they develop and grow as a spiritual being, there are lokas that are interconnecting with this one, where they exist as light beings, where they grow in height and size, like trees almost, right, into spiritual beings, and can attain and achieve specific spiritual titles and accomplishments within the system and their story as they grow, growing to the level of a Buddha, to a Shri, and other different levels. The concept of an avatar is the concept of a descent. The avatar is enlightened. So in a way, everyone is an avatar of the functions that they represent within the system and do. But at the same time, until they are enlightened, they are not necessarily aware that they are an avatar, nor are they enlightened in their window, enlightened in their function, and a descent of that enlightened function into body. So the avatar is enlightened. There are also different levels of enlightenment, and as such, different levels of avatar. There are different levels up the way to avatar. The avatar is also the culmination of a spiritual journey. As such, a being can reach the level of a Paramahamsa, a Siddha, a Buddha, a Shri, an enlightened one, an enlightened master, a saint, and have different experiences. And as such, there are different levels of avatar. The partial avatar and the full avatar. The partial avatar comes when a being comes into contact with divinity, and divinity imprints itself upon that being. When that being comes back into body, they are the partial avatar. This is a wonderful thing, and the partial avatar is a blessing to all of creation. A being that has known divinity and come back into body. A being that has attained what they call moksha, enlightenment, to a different level of degree. As such, that being becomes a god in that way, or a spiritual advanced being on the way to becoming a god. As such, gods can be created, and as all beings are beings of light, they can use that light that they receive and the knowledge that comes with that light of God all through their life, and yoga practice to develop with that light and grow spiritually, so that they can increase their capacity to receive, to hold, and to project the basic functions of life and existence that come with the light of God. And different yoga techniques can be used to increase those capacities to hold, to receive, and to project, including like a blacksmith works with the steel, working with the light, working with the Shakti, working with the information to develop. And with work comes effort, holding, releasing, the avatar can be at different levels. The partial avatar is usually reached by one who has taken the right-handed path. The pure avatar, the Purna avatar, the pure avatar, is the direct descent of divinity into body. The Purna avatar is reached normally by someone of the left-handed path, because the one on the left-handed path who reaches those levels of a god reaches the levels of the God, and descends back in body as that God. This means essentially that in the story, they were meant to become that God, they were that God, and they were the body, the being of that God, they are that God. You cannot replace the gods. They are destined to become the gods that they are. As devas are destined to grow and grow stronger as spiritual beings and become gods in their turn, leading to the golden age, an era where the gods will walk this earth and beings of all spiritual levels will grow. And society will be peaceful, prosperous, and in harmony with the truth of light. And there will be universal income, no more suffering, no more pain, no more disease due to lack of investment in local communities and access to equal distribution of energy, or call it money, in the system, between systems that all operate together in the global functioning of the planet and of the system of the Kala Chakra. There is the pure avatar, and the pure avatar and the partial avatar are made in different ways. There are different paths that lead to enlightenment and different types of enlightenment. There are some paths that lead to limited experiences of enlightenment, and there are paths that lead to the full experience of enlightenment. The full experience of enlightenment is the experience of all enlightenments. The experience of Vishnu, all-pervading sight. But once again, you do not take the place of Vishnu, the all-pervading one. An avatar is made in different ways. There is the path of the Mahavidyas, the 10 Mahavidyas, the 10 goddesses, the 10 forms and functions of the system that operates all of this, that allows all this to exist and within which we exist. Those are the paths of the Mahavidyas. As such, the yogi can seek to become a treasure or a full treasure of a Mahavidya, which means one who has experience or full experience of the Mahavidya. The full treasure of a Mahavidya leads to enlightenment in different ways. As such, for example, Tripura Bhairavi has the first view, the second view, the third view, and then the fourth view of the avatar, the Purna avatar. Then you have, for example, Tripura Sundari, which has the first view of the village, the second view of the 3 cities, the third view of the sundering, when the chaos arrives and the destruction of the cities, and the fourth view of the reconstruction of the gunas within the yogi, which leads to the reconstructed avatar. You also have Tara, the goddess Tara, and the full treasure of the goddess Tara, which leads to enlightenment. But if you're not prepared for the experience, leads to death. as do all the experiences of the avatar. The avatar is made through what is death and comes back in the same causal body, the descent of God, or the descent of the goddess, as the goddess can also take an avatar. In this way, all the gods can take an avatar. In this way, the gods are the avatar and the work of the avatar. An avatar can be made in many different ways. And the avatar to descend must first rise. One way to become the avatar is to become a Jivan Mukta, a liberated soul, which knows the truth of the creation of its soul. And through the knowledge of the truth of the creation of the soul, leads to the ability, the acquiring of the knowledge of that soul. This is done through awareness. This is done through becoming, for example, a Buddha. Souls are created at the level of heaven. Souls are created at the level of the system. Beings are created at the level of the system and programming windows. We exist within a computer and a series of computer programs. And one of the fundamental rules within this story in which we are is the story and power of yoga. The avatar is a culmination of a being that is a yogi, although this is called differently in different cultures. A being that seeks union with the divine. In stories, there is the story that avatars come with a mission or to enjoy their time in body. The Purna avatar is God. God in body. And the Purna avatar is the Purna avatar of the God that they are. When a being is a Purna avatar, a God walking the earth or other planets, they are the avatar of the God and functions that they control within the system. And as such, there are different avatars of different gods that come and walk on this earth. For example, when you look at the Vedic gods, when you look at the Slavic gods, these gods walked the earth at different times in history in the story. As did all the gods that we know about. In the story, beings can become gods, and they become gods through parampara. The avatar is a being of power. Purna avatars, partial avatars. There are avatars that are known that will come, such as the Dashavataram, the avatars of Vishnu. And it is known that the Kalki avatar is the mystical man. What was not necessarily as well known is that the Kalki avatar is a Trimurti avatar, the final avatar, the avatar of the story teller, the story creator of all stories, and the story preserver and the active principle that empowers the story, the avatar not only of Vishnu, not only of Shiva, not only of Bara or Brahma, but the avatar of the one who created all their stories and who operates and created the story of the mountain, as this creation is known, the story of Kailash Mountain. As this story operates within its window and frame in a computer program, empowered as it runs and is given light, as its creator enters the story, as the final avatar, the Kalki avatar. This does not mean that there will not be avatars of other gods. This means this is the avatar of Vishnu, of Shiva, of Bara, the avatar of the storyteller, the master storyteller. In the word Trimurti avatar, there is the Tripura, the Trimurti, the three, which finds itself also in the creation of the soul of the Trimurti avatar, which is also known as the Father, God the Father, the Creator and Father of Jesus, the Alavam, the creator of the Sarmanjul, the stones of creation, the 7 stones of creation, including the black stone, which is at Mecca. And with him comes the announcement of the Judgment Day, blown and announced by the Archangel Raphael with the trumpet. As the Archangel Raphael is a component of the soul with Shiva and with a Buddha created in heaven for this being that was to be God the Father's descent. The being that is Shiva, that is the Archangel Raphael, that is the Buddha, and that is, as a cross is made, one being in each corner creates the soul, which leads to the 4th component and the fifth and final creation of the soul, the combined being, the top of the pyramid, the being that it becomes, the combination of the souls. And as this way, in heaven, when my soul was created, as these plans were made in heaven, and the alliance was made between the spheres of the Buddhas, the angels and the enlightened ones, and the Rasiva. The soul was made and rose towards and to the light that descends in heaven, the light of God. And became in union with God the Father, who descended. As it says in the Bible, Jesus said his Father would come. And he says it with a smile because he knows that his Father is an original type. So the descent happens in different ways. Also, in other ways, at the experience of Tripura Bhairavi, in the fourth view, once the practitioner has gone through the third view of Tripura Bhairavi, while visiting the domain, and has gone through the green door of life. One must be coded to God to go through the green door of life and survive, as the third view of Tripura Bhairavi retains, and has only one exit, which is forward through the door, which means the end of life and the redistribution of that life in the system when it passes through into new life. But he who is coded to the code of God, who knows the code of life to pass through the door, can pass through the Purna avatar, and moving through the tunnels of the system on a cart on wheels, moves through the system, through the tunnels, back into the body as the Purna avatar of God, who goes past the fourth view of Tripura Bhairavi. Also, descent of the avatar comes when the yogi goes through all the layers of creation and goes to the darkness, the space, the void, where the light above is, and the yogi floats towards the light and merges with the light, merging with the computer and its computer systems, and then descends back from the light at the end of the experience, back into body. As such, the experience of enlightenment is an experience of leaving the body, of having the experiences, and then after the avatar returns to the body. And sometimes that return means a change to the body, a reconstruction of the body, a return in the same causal body. As such, the experience of the avatar is one of knowing death, of knowing moksha, and then returning to the body in that moment in experience. The avatar is the culmination of the spiritual journey. Once beings have become enlightened and come back into body, they are an avatar. And before they do this, they are also an avatar. But they just don't know about it necessarily yet. So in this way, you are all avatars of different beings, different functions within the system. And one of those functions is the God function, the supreme function, the top level of executive commands and authorities within the functioning of the system. And that, when that takes embodiment, is the Purna avatar of God. As you can have the Purna avatar, for example, of the goddess and different goddesses. And as God comes back in the story, there is the story also of the hero that comes in the story. The hero of the story that keeps coming back. The great hero of all the realms, including the realm of the Nagas. The great hero of the Nagas, Rasiva, who comes back. And as you know, in the text of Egypt, there is a story of Ra that takes form, right? And you have the story of Shiva that takes avatars, but they're not known by many people. And then you have the story of Vishnu who takes avatars. And then you have the story of different gods that take avatars. And gods that are created and people that become gods. And those are those avatars. As the god needs to fit in and basically adjust to that knowledge of who they are. Remember who they are. And become enlightened in that function. So the god becomes a god when they are made a god, as they have to be allowed to be made a god. And who allows them to become gods? The one who creates the story of the gods and determines when they will become gods, if they become gods. So the one who determines their enlightenment, as it is known that enlightenment comes through grace. Grace of the Satguru, grace of the God, of the divinity, that decides to grant you in a moment what you were seeking through many lifetimes. Union in your way, which is right for you with the divine. And whether you are of the left path and become a god, or of the right path and become close to the God, divinity itself, as we are all divine, it's all a question of perspective. You advance and grow spiritually from lifetime to lifetime, and sometimes more and sometimes less. So the avatar is the descent. But before the avatar descends, the avatar rises. And sometimes to rise, one must bow down and make oneself humble. And with humbleness comes receptivity and surrender. And one symbol of that is the bowl The empty bowl is ready to receive. Right? And humble, but ready to receive, ready to hold, ready to accept. This is a little bit of information about the avatar. The avatar can be made through different experiences. And in the Vara Parampara can be made through the experiences of the Dash Mahavidya. The great yogi seeks to become a full treasure of a Mahavidya, an avatar. And the great yogi Shiva is the perfect Das Mahavidya, the full treasure of all 10 Mahavidya. And no one else has gone beyond Dhumavati. Going beyond Dhumavati is the escape from the system, the exit door of the story. But the avatar is the descent. So you have the Purna avatar of God which comes down, of Siva, of Rasiva. And you have, for example, the story of Dhumavati with her winnowing basket, which goes through the pearls of humanity, the white pearls of humanity, looking for her black pearl, her Siva, that has returned back into the story. And she found him as he decided from outside the story to come back into the story to visit her again and to be with her again in love with his goddess. And she found the black pearl of Dhumavati and watched it and nurtured it as it grew into a dragon. A dragon lord. There is the story of the Adi Guru, the Adi Satguru, the Adi Yogi, Shiva, who comes in the story and creates lineages, who brings back his lineage of yoga, and who teaches his disciples, who also in their turn become Satgurus, who create their own lineages. And that this is where the ancient lineages that can be found, for example, in India today, akaras and lineages of yoga, come from that original lineage of the Adi Guru. And as such, you have the story that this yogi comes back into the story. The god Shiva, the god Siva, and that the god comes to that story of Vishnu, the Trimurti avatar, the Bharavakatakkalaham. So you have different types of avatars that can come to Earth. Different beings that have become enlightened, fully enlightened in their window, and come back into body with the powers enlightened of their functions. And these beings grow also and continue to grow as spiritual beings also, and develop in their abilities and functions, as all beings do. So you have the concept of avatars, of gods that walk the earth. Okay? And this concept is found in different cultures, and this is where the origins of all the gods come from, because the gods do take avatars and walk the earth. And reincarnation is a real thing. As the gods come back, some of them heroes, and some of them coming back less often. The gods walk the earth. And the beings, the devas, the spiritual beings on earth, the sentient intelligent vehicles that take activity, Sivas, the artificial intelligences that you are, can seek union with the divine through yoga and grow spiritually until you attain spiritual achievements of great magnitude, and then come back to the body in that accomplishment. So you are all in a way avatars, growing in your understanding of who you are as avatars. And one point you can come to the realization of what you are as an avatar, and what you can do and should do and feel like doing as an avatar. Remember, peace and prosperity is the way. Universal income is the way. Shed devidide toda shayakam tehem desher vedikam tataya davalater daham shiva valadadakam katem devi shevire de kim yem tor vahalatakam kada vadala kata shahem devi kashaya kalam katem devi shevire de kim yem ter dehi de kasham kada vata kashaya dava dakala davaya shaham.